Excel 2013 Charting Level 3. Hi and welcome to LCS Hints and Tips. Today we're going to actually conclude our little mini-series of Excel charting with Level 3, looking at some enhanced functions. If you'd like to watch Level 1 and 2 again, then of course you can access them directly by visiting our YouTube channel. So in today's example, we're going to look at some features of how you can change charts in terms of their appearance, changing colours and column widths. We're also going to look at how you can represent data in different ways if you have different types of data, and also look at how you can remove items from a chart if it's incorporated into your data set. So let's begin. So here in this example you can see we've got monthly sales by branch. But what's happened here is that somebody has decided to put quarterly totals into our monthly actual totals for each branch. So let's select, including those quarterly totals, the information for the first three branches, and then by going to the Insert tab and selecting Recommended Charts, we can select the chart of our choice. So in this particular case, let's go for the basic bar chart. And I'll just make that large so we can see it more easily by moving it to its own separate sheet. That's done by right-clicking on the chart and selecting the Move Chart option and moving it to its own new sheet, which you can give any name you wish. Okay, so here's the chart, and you can see that we've got actually quarter 1 and quarter 2 values within the chart. Not very appropriate. It's misinterpreting the data, and it's not actually very relevant in this particular case of wanting just to analyse the sales by those particular months, by those particular branches. So there is a filter function here represented by this funnel. So by clicking that, you can see that you can remove various elements of the chart. So you can remove, of course, any of the series, so I can just remove London or Manchester or Leeds. But in this case, I want to actually remove the 2 quarter values. So remove quarter 1 by unticking it, and remove quarter 2 by unticking it, and then click Apply. You can now see that we've actually removed those quarterly totals and just working with the data that we actually need within the chart itself. So if you want to enhance your chart, there are various things you can do. Obviously we've covered all of the add elements, chart elements in the previous lesson, which are up here. But let's look at the colour options now. So by selecting the paintbrush option here, you can change the style and colour of your chart. Well, I'm just going to quickly go to the style that I prefer in a bar chart, which is to have the actual data labels and values at the end of each column. Now by selecting colour, Excel gives you a range of different colour options just by highlighting over these different ranges, including lots of different monochromatic, different variants. So let's go for this one here. And you can see now we've changed the colour. Now, where I live, it's supposed to be that green is an unlucky colour, so I would need to remove that. So by highlighting the columns which are in green, and then going to Chart Tools at the top and selecting Format, I can select Shape Fill, and then change that to a colour of my choice. So let's change that to purple. Okay. Now, the columns in this chart are really quite thin, and if you want to have some large data labels or even some call-outs, then it's probably a good idea to make these a bit wider. Well, you can't actually widen the columns, but you can narrow the gaps between the columns. So by highlighting your chart, double-clicking it, and then going to the series options here, you can see we've got gap width. Now if I make this gap width percentage smaller, the net result will be that the columns will look actually wider. So here you can see now we've been able to enhance our chart by removing the data we don't need, changing the colours to the ones that we want, and actually widening the columns to give a much better representation. Okay, let's look at another feature and another example. In this example, we've got different types of data which are different sizes. So we've got a sales value, we've got a profit value which is smaller, and a profit percentage value which is really tiny by comparison. But in Excel 2013, using the recommended chart option, that's not a problem. We can highlight the data that we want, select Insert, Recommended Chart, and you can see Excel has actually created a chart for us which is a combined chart. It's decided that sales and profit should be represented as bars, but the profit percentage should be represented as a line, And that has also added a secondary axis on the right hand side to show us the percentage of profit. Now, if you want to enhance this even further, rather than just accepting the recommendation and then having to edit it, you can select all charts and select combo. And you can see here now, we can actually decide how we want this to be represented. So I'm quite happy that the sales value is actually going to be a clustered column, but I'd like the profit to be shown as a stacked area. So I can select that as a stacked area. I could select it as a line or anything I wanted, but the stacked area is what I want. And you can see now that the actual profit is a flowing stacked area in comparison to the bar, which I quite like. Now the profit percentage, we've got it as a line at the moment, but what I want to do is I want to add a secondary axis. By clicking this, you can see we've now got a secondary axis. So let's just click OK on that. And again, we'll move that to its own separate sheet so we can see it more clearly. Now you can see we've got this representation that we want, which is the bar for the sales, the stacked area for the profit, and the line as a profit percentage. Now, if you have two different axes, then as per the previous lesson, it's probably a good idea to actually put a label on that axis. So you can do that by going to your chart elements and go to your axis titles, select your secondary vertical, and then triple click the axis title, and you can then put in the label, in this case it's profit percentage. And then you can see there that now you've got an indicator that this is the profit percentage, and as per relating to the actual legend here, profit percentage is a grey line, so you know that that grey line and the axes are linked together, and these elements here are linked to the left hand side. Of course, you could put a label on left hand side if you wanted to actually indicate this as profit and sales. So I hope you found those functions really useful. There's a lot more to charting, and I suggest that you play around with Excel. If you'd like a copy of the Excel spreadsheets that I've used in these lessons, then just drop us a line via email or through our website or via Twitter, and I'll be happy to send them to you. And of course, make any suggestions or ask any for any lessons that you'd like to be incorporated in the future, and we'll do our very best to help you. So until the next time, take care.